Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pain, Ranting Monkey.
Hello.
And the Lord of Pennies, Satsu 2 cents.
What up, doe?
And the Lord of my phone going off at the top of the hour, because it always does. The Lord of Punishment, Scribe. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're having a good Tuesday, a good week so far, all things considered. And that you're all warm and healthy. All that good stuff. It's been a busy day on my end of the world, but Satsu, how are you doing?
Pretty good. I had a pretty decent day. Nothing crazy to report. I made my first HelloFresh meal today, and that shit was fucking delicious. That went really well. I'm very happy with that. So I already got pictures taken and stuff, and I got to edit the video and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's I'm digging it.
Cool. Monkey, how are you?
I'm okay. Tired, just not sleeping well these days, but otherwise I'm all right. How you doing, Scribbles?
I'm doing okay. It was like I said, a busy day work-wise and other things going on, but all in all, positive. Tomorrow will be another busy day, but okay, Sarah, it's going to be a busy week. Let's see. Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies, video games. Hit that like button if you have not already, and many of you haven't. I guess that's tradition by now. So tradition. And please share our stuff. Share it far, wide, sideways, and otherwise. We'll say it before. We'll say it again. YouTube doesn't do a whole lot to advertise smaller content creators or really content creators that aren't backed by corporate numbers or something. So if there's a content creator out there that you like or appreciate or want other people to know about, please share their stuff. Let people know they exist because you guys are our best algorithm. Anything else to talk about before we get into the schnizzle-snuzz?
I'm sorry, I don't know if I just missed it. Did you catch your donation before the stream?
I was about to get to that.
Oh, okay. That's all I had.
Okay. Yeah. As before the stream, thank you, Point Curation. Holst was the first man named Gus in space. I suppose existentially with the planets, as it were. And thank you, Tall Person. I was going to wish you a happy International Kiss a Ginger Day, but somebody did that on Twitter already. So happy National Marzipan Day. Oh, marzipan. Well, yeah, it was Kiss a Ginger Day. I was kind of like, well, A, I'm not a ginger, and B, I'm not near any gingers, so I guess I'm out of luck both ways. But
Don't worry, you'll be fine.
I appreciate the sentiment. And anybody else who got that Holst joke, you are a fan of music. What can I say? Let's see. Scribe ain't kidding about is smaller YouTuber, and then Monkey disappears. Okay. Well, Monkey, come back.
He'll be back after these messages.
Yeah, after these messages, he'll be right back. Anybody remember where that tune was from? Probably not, or at least nobody that's under 30. Okay, let's try this again. Monkey?
What's up?
Where'd you go?
I was trying to close Twitter, but the tab didn't switch over fast enough, so I ended up closing this instead of that. That's all.
Okay. All right. Well then, let's move on to the wonderful world of the snooze. This might become a running theme in the coming days because CNN is the one story channel at present. So what I plan to do is we'll read a story about the story and then move on to other things. Thank you, Lady Gopher, for the Dogcat Fox. Happy, lovely Dogcat Fox. Thank you. Okay, so if you did not know, there are several things going on in our legislature at present. First and foremost, the House voted on a resolution to compel Vice President Mike Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment in order to remove President Trump from office. Mike Pence has written a letter saying he will not, and basically advising House Democrats and others to forego impeachment and move on with getting President-elect Biden transitioned in, which of course they will ignore. But a White House official says they expect as many as 20 or more Republicans to vote for impeachment in the House of Representatives on Wednesday, though they do not have a firm figure. Another GOP source close to the situation, which could be anybody, says to expect between 10 and 25 House GOP members to defect from President Trump and vote for the article of impeachment. The source notes that it is a big range and a lot of uncertainty as to how the final vote will break down, so you don't really know anything. Okay. And Trump advisors are reminding lawmakers how popular Trump remains in the party. A separate source on the Hill tells CNN that the number will likely be less than 20.
Hold that thought for a second. Before we move on, I just want to say it doesn't matter how popular he is, whether you are for or against the impeachment has dick all to do with his popularity. It should be whether or not he did something wrong, shitbags.
But the reason that they're talking about it is because that's the sole reason that they're going for impeachment anyway. It's
true.
I
mean, in a way, I kind of appreciate the candor. That maybe unintentional candor there, but at the same time, that also just tells us how diminished impeachment actually is now against the president. It really isn't about whether or not something went wrong. And of course, as we said all during the first impeachment, an impeachment process is not a legal procedure.
No.
High crimes and misdemeanors can be anything effectively that the House decides they are. So whether by any legal standard Trump committed a crime is irrelevant, at least in this case. I mean, if it's an obvious crime or something where there's really no doubt, that could certainly be the case. But that's not the standard that the impeachment process is based on. So, yeah, it's a popularity contest. It's being done more out of spite than it is out of any proven crime. And I've seen several arguments from several people on whether or not what Trump said or did amounts to incitement. It all depends on your interpretation, I guess, or how loose you want to be with words and their meanings or reading between the lines. Thank you. This is Kyle. Hello, chat people in Lawton. Hello, Kyle. But either way, it doesn't really matter whether there's a legal standard to be had here. And in fact, the legal standard is irrelevant, as our reporter kind of either inadvertently or stupidly told us. Let's see. And I'll read one more. This is the running sort of live blog that CNN has going on this. And the latest bit is Trump has continued discussing issuing pardons for himself and his children, sources say. President Trump has continued discussing it. Multiple sources familiar with the matter tell CNN. One source familiar with the conversations says there is a belief that a belief that a Trump quote, pardon of family and kids is more likely and more urgent because a pardon could stave off prosecution, unquote.
Wait,
I think does a pardon stave? Whoa! Holy cats, Keldrig. Jeez Louise, man. Thank you so much. A belated Merry Christmas to you. A little bit of extra coin to compensate for YouTube's cut. Thank you, Keldrig. Man, that's ridiculous, dude. Thank you.
That's awesome.
I don't know what to say. Thank you so much. Wow. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I'm stunned into silence. For somebody else talk for a second.
Okay. What I was about to say is the way that story started off and what you just said, those two things don't match, I don't think, and unless I wasn't really listening properly. Because they said he's still absolutely 100% having those discussions. And then they said, it is believed that he might do this because blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wait, that's not what you said.
Yeah.
You said he's definitely talking about pardoning him and his family. And then you said they believe that it's happening.
Well, no, there's a belief that a Trump pardon is more likely and more urgent because a pardon could stave off prosecution. It's not a belief that they were happening, but there's a belief that doing so will protect his family from any fallout. Now, my only question is, can you pardon someone as a preemptive move to a possible prosecution?
Yes, you can pardon them for any behavior that might have been criminal.
Even before there's an actual official indictment?
Yep.
Huh.
That's interesting.
That is interesting. That's like a blanket get out of jail free card, no matter what happens.
Yep, basically.
Is that really? And honestly, I'm asking sincerely. I don't. Is that really how it works? I could just, as president, I could just say, "Hey, you guy, anything that you do between now and end of time."
No, it would have to be on specific charges. So like with the Trump kids, it might be something like let's see, illegal business practices of some sort. Like
Well, I mean, what if I just handed over the entire library books of law and said pardon?
well, you could, but that would probably get you a lot more problems. No, this would be more like for any crimes that may have been committed while they were serving as an advisor to the president with regard to business law, something like that. I think it would have to be very specific. But yeah,
something that's already being looked at or you've already been accused of, not just like, hey, I'm pardoning you for whatever it is you're going to do at some point. Like,
yeah, remember that was in chat. Nixon was pardoned. Nixon was never charged with a crime.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, thank you, Chicago Mike. Ford pardoned Nixon after Nixon resigned. Yeah, but I mean, it was a pardon without any consequence because if he was never charged with anything, was he never charged anything because of the pardon, or was he never going to be charged with anything anyway?
No, part of the whole deal was that he would be pardoned so that he wouldn't face any prosecution if he stepped down.
No, so okay,
yeah, so that's the same deal with Trump. If in fact he for whatever reason, if he did manage to do something that they were able to prove, he already pre-pardoned himself.
All right. Okay. Well, again, this is just sources say and people familiar with the matter. So unless or until it actually happens, it's all just rumors. But yeah.
In chat, Jim is right. It cannot be a future crime. It has to be something that's already happened.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to move on from that. I do have other political news, but not directly dealing with the current stuff, DC per se. So let's move on to Biden reportedly frustrated with his coronavirus team as advisors worry 100 million vaccines goal won't be met.
Shocking.
I know, amazingly enough. President-elect Joe Biden has said he'll get, quote, at least 100 million vaccine shots into the arms of the American people, quote, during his first 100 days. But before his term begins, some advisors are reportedly worried this promise will ultimately be broken. Yeah, it's almost like maybe he shouldn't have made it without knowing for sure that he could do it. I don't know. Read my lips, no new taxes. Biden has, quote, grown frustrated with the team in charge of plotting his coronavirus response as there is increasing concern among some of his advisors that the 100 million vaccinations in 100 days goal won't be met. Quote, while some Biden advisors insist it's possible to make good on the 100 million vow, others are privately worried that the federal response is already so chaotic that it will take a Herculean effort to pull it off, unquote. Biden reportedly confronted COVID-19 coordinator Jeff Zients and his deputy to tell them, quote, their team was underperforming, unquote, Politico says. Transition officials blame a, quote, lack of long-term planning, unquote, by the Trump administration, which didn't come across to meeting its goal of vaccinating 20 million Americans by the end of 2020, as the vaccine rollout got off to a far slower than expected start in the United States.
See, this is
slower than expected than zero. Slower than expected than zero. And also, remember when everybody was preparing, like there was a memo that went out to states to prepare for administering the vaccination, and there was so much pushback as like, why are they wasting that on something that's not going to happen?
Mm-hmm. Well, even more than that, the administration, 20 million vaccines went out that they haven't been administered is up to the states.
Yeah.
Trump didn't do what he said he was going to do. Well, I mean, yes, they did use the wrong language there, but as much as they were capable, they absolutely did what they said they were going to do.
It's so funny because he's like, I made a promise that I didn't confirm whether I could keep. But it's okay because I'll just blame it on Trump if it doesn't come true.
Well, here you go. And here in the next paragraph, quote, they're inheriting a mess, unquote. Former Obama administration acting Medicare and Medicaid chief Andy Slavitt told Politico, quote, I think they're uncovering how bad it is, unquote.
Yeah, it wasn't all the pushback against, the efforts to prepare and get everybody ready, or the rhetoric that you shouldn't be doing it, or denying the fact that it could even exist. None of that played a factor at all.
Biden, Politico notes, has suggested that whether the 100 million vaccinations goal is reached will be dependent on further COVID-19 relief legislation.
Oh, really?
Previously saying, quote, if Congress provides additional funding for state and local governments, quote, we'd be able to meet this incredible goal, unquote. That's different than promising, Joe. And also, what have you done to push for COVID relief in the last 6 months? Prior to winning the election, what did you do over the summer? Nothing.
He tweeted. He tweeted.
Thank you, Witty Kitty. Hey, Scribe, have you found a lady friend yet? LOL. Why you got to laugh at me about it?
I'll also just remind you that Biden wasn't president. He told us that repeatedly during the debates.
Yeah.
He didn't need a plan. He wasn't president.
Yeah,
right.
I'm not president, so I don't need a plan.
Not for him. Well, thank you, Witty Kitty, for rubbing salt in, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. But Politico writes that some in the transition are, quote, questioning whether Biden's first big pandemic pledge placed too much confidence, unquote, in the Trump administration, and allies are warning transition officials about, quote, the overriding political consequences of breaking one of Biden's first major promises, unquote.
Hold on. Wait a minute. They think he made that promise because he had faith in Trump? Is that what they're saying?
Yep.
They're already making excuses for his having overshot what he could do.
And it's Trump's fault.
Already. It's Trump's fault. Biden said 100 million, and when they don't make it, it'll be Trump's fault they didn't make it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had way too much faith in Trump.
So if they do make it, then it'll be to Trump's credit.
Oh God, no! You know better than that shit. Come on.
Oh, well, I don't know. Well, thank you, understatement. Snowball did it. Snowball ruined the windmill. Yeah, no shit. Very good reference. Reference. All right, moving on to another tangential story dealing with Trump, but not directly with Trump, because everything is. It's like the common thread in all things. In Trump's final days, Netanyahu orders more settler homes built because, that's going to make everything better over there. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered construction plans advanced on Monday for some 800 Jewish settler homes in the occupied West Bank, anchoring the projects in the final days of the pro-settlement Trump administration. Palestinians condemned such construction as illegal. The timing of the move appeared to be an attempt to set Israel's blueprint in indelible ink before Joe Biden, who has been critical of its settlement policies, becomes U.S. president on January 20th. Moving ahead with the projects could help shore up support for Netanyahu from settlers and their backers in a March 23rd election, Israel's fourth in 2 years, in which the conservative leader faces new challenges from the right. Well, he should be facing new challenges of corruption charges, but apparently that's just been forgotten or something. An announcement by Netanyahu's office said about 800 homes would be built in the settlements of Beit El and Givat Ziv, I'm probably screwing those up, north of Jerusalem, and in Tal Menashe, Relem, Shaveh Shorom, Barkan, and Karnai Shamron in the northern West Bank. Again, I'm butchering those, and I apologize. It gave no starting date for construction. Quote, it is an attempt to race against time and benefit from the last days of the current U.S. administration. Wazu Abu Yusuf, a member of the executive committee of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, told Reuters. The Donald Trump administration has effectively backed Israel's right to build West Bank settlements by abandoning a long-held U.S. position that they break international law. Trump also has delighted Israeli leaders and angered Palestinians by recognizing contested Jerusalem as Israel's capital and moving the U.S. embassy there. Gail Tal Shir, a political scientist at Jerusalem's Hebrew University, said Netanyahu wants the settlement move, quote, to be set in stone before the Biden administration comes into office and maybe changes Israeli-American tacit understandings on settlements that existed under Trump, unquote. Netanyahu also wants to tell voters he is, quote, the only leader who can stand up to Biden and make sure he doesn't dictate our policy in the Palestinian territories, unquote, Tal Shir said. Well, it sure sounds like Trump gave you permission to do what you've been doing in the Palestinian territories, so you're not completely opposed to ceding control to a foreign leader. Okay, but anyway, whatever. So yeah, that's the latest and greatest from Israel, apparently.
I wonder if Biden's going to move our embassy back.
That'd be interesting.
I doubt it, but
yeah, I don't think he could easily make that move without. Well, I mean, part of me thinks, and I'm just being sort of, I'm kind of
politically he could.
Politically, he could, yeah. And neutral, and I was kind of like, Israel needs us. We don't particularly need Israel, except for the idea that they're our only real solid ally in the Middle East. Except that itself is changing quite a bit with the treaties that Trump has founded, or helped to found in the last several months. I mean, that doesn't make all the other surrounding nations as strong an ally as Israel, but I don't know. I don't know.
Well, there's also the point there. I mean, Trump wasn't the only president who said we should have done that. Everyone running for president has, and then they get in there and they're like, "Oh, we didn't mean it." So I'm very curious what's going to happen with that.
Well, he probably won't move the embassy. Maybe he'll put out some kind of official statement opposing the settlements, but we're not going to do anything about it. I mean, we're not going to take Israel to the international court or something. So I'm not quite sure what the fallout could be.
It could be us not objecting like we normally do when this shit is brought up in at the UN. That would not be out of character.
Or he could put some kind of roadblocks to support or arms or something going to Israel without some other assurances or something. I don't know. I guess we'll find out in the coming months if we find out at all. Let's see. Moving on to completely not important but fun stories, because why not? Missing cat turns up 3 years after California disaster. A pet cat believed killed along with her owner in a huge mudslide has been found 3 years later. The Animal Shelter Assistance Program in Santa Barbara County says the calico named Patches was brought in as a stray last month, and a microchip scan revealed her identity. Patches has been missing since January 9th, 2018, when a rainstorm on the vast burn scar of the Thomas Fire sent a debris-laden torrent crashing down through hillside neighborhoods of Montecito, northwest of Los Angeles. 23 people were killed, including cat owner Josie Gower. The devastation of the debris flow was so terrible that the bodies of 2 victims were never found. The ASAP shelter says Patches was found less than a quarter mile from where her Montecito home stood. She was reunited with Gower's partner, Norm Borgatello, on New Year's Eve. Quote, though we don't know exactly what she's been doing with her life for the past 3 years, we can see that both Patches and Norm are thrilled to be reunited, the shelter said. A live stream ceremony to remember the 23 victims was held last week on a 3rd anniversary of what has become known as the 1-9 debris flow.
Ugh.
Doesn't really roll off the tongue very well, but there you go.
I'm glad she's okay.
Yeah, 3 years just somewhere, but half a mile from home.
I feel like that's a movie waiting to happen.
It's
we've had
Homeward Bound, ain't it?
Yeah, Homeward Bound, Milo and Otis, maybe. Benji the Hunted. Remember Benji the Hunted?
Oh, apparently I have a Streamlabs.
Oh, okay. Thank you, James Colley. Ranting Up Against Streamlabs. Message.
I'm on my way over there.
Message. Reference.
Thank you, James Colley. I finally figured out why Dog Cat Fox lives on the moon. It's because in space, no one can hear you scream, and that's the way Scribe and him like it. I'm curious, though, which is the Stockholm victim? I'm I'm not touching the rest of that. Thank you for no one can hear you scream in space. That's funny. Thank you, James.
I thought it was going to be international law or something, or jurisdictional issues. All right. Well, moving on to less important things. Cheers. Speaking of space, amazingly enough, Cheers French wine and vines headed home after a year in space. The International Space Station bid adieu Tuesday to 12 bottles of French Bordeaux wine and hundreds of snippets of grapevines that spent a year orbiting the world in the name of science. SpaceX's Dragon cargo capsule undocked with the wine and vines and thousands of pounds of other gear and research, including mice, and aimed for a splashdown Wednesday night in the Gulf of Mexico off the coast of Tampa. The Atlantic had been targeted, but poor weather shifted the arrival to Florida's other side. SpaceX's supply ships previously parachuted into the Pacific. The carefully packed wine, each bottle nestled inside a steel cylinder to prevent breakage, remained corked aboard the orbiting lab. Space Cargo Unlimited, a Luxembourg startup behind the experiments, wanted the wine to age for an entire year up there.
I wonder how much they paid to get that on there.
I wonder how much they pay to get it on there. I wonder how much they're going to charge for anybody who wants a bottle of space wine.
Oh, that's going to be expensive as shit.
And my other question would be, does the wine spending a year in zero to low gravity change it in some way?
You know there's going to be some wine snob out there. You can taste the solar radiation.
Yeah, there you go. None of the bottles will be opened until the end of February. That's when the company will pop open a bottle or two for an out-of-this-world wine tasting in Bordeaux by some of France's top connoisseurs and experts. Months of chemical testing will follow. Researchers are eager to see how space altered the sedimentation and bubbles. I mean, stranger things have happened. You take water and oil up into space, they actually mix. So who knows? Agricultural science is the primary objective, stresses Nicole Guillaume. Of course it is, the company's CEO and founder. Although he admits it will be fun to sample the wine, he'll be among the lucky few taking a sip. Quote, our goal is to tackle the solution of how we're going to have an agriculture tomorrow that is both organic and healthy and able to feed humanity, and we think space has the key, unquote. Why?
Okay, let's say I believe him. The fuck does that have to do with what they did?
Yeah, okay. With climate change, Guillaume said agricultural products like grapes will need to adapt to harsher conditions. Like outer space? Like, wait, the entire planet's going to be just scorched to nothing or have no atmosphere or no gravity? What?
But they didn't. Conditions. They sent up the wine, right?
Yeah, it's sitting inside a space capsule. They weren't grow. I mean, what the way they set up the vines? They had vines there too. So if they were trying to grow vines in space and see what happens, but I mean, so okay, so climate change ravages the entire planet, and so your backup plan is to send potted vines into space to grow for a while.
Yep.
What? Through a series of space experiments, Space Cargo Unlimited hopes to take what's learned by stressing the plants in weightlessness and turn that into more robust and resilient plants on Earth.
Oh, are they trying to just like? Are they trying to like mutate just like stronger plants from making them grow in harsh areas? Because that's what it sounds like.
I guess I'm curious to know more about how that's supposed to work. Okay, there's another bet. Guillaume expects future explorers to the moon and Mars will want to enjoy some of Earth's pleasures. Quote, being French, it's part of life to have some good food and good wine, he told the Associated Press. It's going to be a long time before wine is a consideration in space colonies. Except for the bottled stuff you bring with you. I don't know that the whatever growing situation they have up there is going to include wine vines or grapevines for a while. It's probably going to be the most nutritious and calorie packed stuff to begin with. So
They can't really shower. Isn't that French enough?
Oh.
That's rude, monkey.
Yeah.
Am I wrong, though?
Yeah. And in space, no one can hear you say, I surrender.
Can you say you stink?
Except dog cat
But
fox.
with that, and with that, we move on to the wonderful world of MSS News. I was about to say YouTube time, but not MSS. If you guys have news stories you'd like us to read on the air, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSS News. Can't promise we'll get to them all, but that's just because in space, no one can hear you read the news. I think let's make that the running theme tonight, since it is true that the theme for tonight is the right stuff, astronauts and the Mercury 7 and all that good stuff. Let's see. And going to the latest tab, so I don't read things from 7 months ago. Oh, wow. Okay, that was a good segue. This one comes from Frosted Glass, and if you can believe it, it's tangentially related to our last story. The racist roots of Parler's weirdly French name.
Oh, dear God.
From parlay to parlor, it's deeply symbolic that right-wing extremists have found refuge in the app. Dude, it could have been named Shoe. And it would have, for God's sakes. Reading between the lines of a cookbook. Once more. Okay. Following the attack on the U.S. Capitol last week and President Donald Trump's removal from Twitter and Facebook, downloads of the quote-unquote free speech app Parler have reportedly surged by more than 500%. Yeah, Streisand effect. Can you imagine that? Also, other things. Parler is a last bastion for the kind of dreck that mainstream social platforms are finally banning. Anti-Semitism. I'm sorry, is the Iranian Ayatollah still on Twitter by any chance?
Yes, he is.
Is Louis Farrakhan on Twitter by any chance?
Last I knew.
Oh, okay. So finally
Linda
banning.
Sartor.
Oh, Linda Sarsour, yeah. Anti-Semitism, hate speech, calls for violence, and the like. Yeah, like destroying Israel. That's obviously Twitter wouldn't allow that kind of stuff to be on their platform. If you're confused as to why an app that caters to rabidly nationalist far-right Americans has a French-sounding name, Parler? What?
It does come from parlay, so they call it a parlay when you tweet over there. It never occurred to me that it was a French origin. I mean, maybe I'm just not so cosmopolitan. I don't know. You're not alone. Technologist Sarah Watson recently posed the question on Twitter, writing, quote, I can't be the only one pronouncing Parler in my head as French. Non, unquote. You might not be the only one, but I don't think you count for the majority. A quick perusal of the network shows hundreds of people who are similarly confused about the app's name.
Huh.
Really? I kind of stopped looking into the meaning of app or online company names after Yahoo and Amazon came out. And it just the number of companies that had just nonsense names because there's only so many .coms with whole words left at that point. I didn't even think about it.
That's your white privilege at talk.
I guess.
Yeah, you should be considering the racist implications of everything you see, Scribe.
Yeah, but I don't work for Medium. It turns out Watson isn't wrong. Okay, Parler's name was originally intended to be pronounced the French way, parlay. Oh, like Colbert. Okay. As Ars Technica reports, quote, the service takes its name from the French verb parler, meaning to speak or sometimes to talk, as in the examples parlez-vous français or je vous parle avant something. The latter translates to I want to speak to your manager. Oh, very clever. The link to the French verb makes sense given the app's supposed emphasis on free speech.
End of story, but...
Yeah. The name might also be inspired... Okay, I'm going to Back up.
Might offset.
The name might also be inspired by the historical concept of a parley, which referred to a conference between opposing sides. Okay. Parleur calls its posts parlays, which lends this explanation credence and further links the app's name to the French verb. Okay. And where's the racism in this?
I'm still missing it. I'm like, when are we going to get to the racism?
Given the app's often deeply xenophobic audience.
What?
All right.
Hold on.
I'm still listening. I'm waiting.
I know. So am I. I'm kind of, like I said, I'm finding this all out at the same time you guys are. Given the app's often deeply xenophobic audience, the foreign origins of its name are more than a little strange.
Are you That can't be the angle they're coming from, right?
Which came first, the chicken or the egg? But taken in a different context.
All right, here we go.
Parler's name is a perfect fit for the app's audience and goals.
Which are?
According to Gizmodo, quote, Parler, which... What? Okay, they spelled it with the O. Parlor was originally pronounced parlay. Okay, what's not spelled with an O, is it? Okay, so Gizmodo
point, lady.
Okay, parlor was originally pronounced parlay, meaning to speak in French, unquote. But CEO John Matsey rebranded it, quote, to the more straightforward pronunciation parlour, as in the type of room, after realizing his users were saying it that way anyways, unquote.
Oh, I see what they're about to do. All right, let it happen.
In Victorian times, a parlour, Americanized to parlor, was a room in the home set aside for formal occasions. As American Heritage, I guess a book, noted in 1963, it was, quote, a bower of fringe and needlepoint, cabbage roses and lambrequins, ottomans, and little spindle chairs on which a lady might perch daintily in her crinoline, unquote, all the finery that marked a Victorian family as high class. Real quick, this is Kyle. Thank you so much. They might run out of red thread soon. I'm trying to see where this goes. As historian Paul Mullins writes in his essay, Racializing the Parlor, from the 2001 book, Race and the Archaeology of Identity. Well, if there ever was a more accurate description of what people have to do to find things to be offended by, it's archaeology of identity. The concept of a parlor was racially charged from the beginning. Parlors were intended to display a family's, quote, utter embrace of genteel discipline, unquote, and, quote, black consumers were assumed to be racially incompatible with genteel privilege. Can you see the chain of reasoning here?
I saw it coming.
Do you see how it's one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, how the number 23 factors into everything, guys?
Dude, they literally went from talking about the fact that this thing started as something completely mundane and unrelated and traveled across the entire globe to get to this point. And then after dragging us through like fucking 10 whole minutes of just straight up bullshit, they're like, this was the intention all along. You just gave us a full fucking 5 paragraphs about how it literally wasn't.
Some wealthy African-American families managed to turn this stereotype on its head, but fundamentally the parlor was full of objects that, quote, celebrated ideologies such as white supremacy, American industrial might, Christian superiority, Western domination, and patriarchy, unquote. Okay, now, having said all that, here are the next 2 words of the next paragraph. Are you ready?
Bring it.
Sheet music, which was one of the 19th century's dominant forms of popular culture, backs up these racial undertones. Minstrel music was a deeply racist music. Good God! I've explained the Tommy Westphall universe before, haven't I?
Yes.
Okay. For those of you that don't know, real quick, there was a show called St. Elsewhere. Long time ago, took place in a hospital. The very last episode suggested that the entire show took place inside of the mind of a child and that none of it was actually real. The problem was several characters and references from that show inside the world, inside the kid's head, ended up on other TV shows like Law and Order and X-Files and a million other things. And therefore, there is a theory that all of these interconnecting shows and partial references and everything all make up one giant shared universe inside this kid's head. We're looking at the Tommy Westphall universe of parlor to minstrel sheet music. This is like 6 degrees of stupid.
Oh, I think there's about 8 or 9 more degrees in there.
Oh, it goes on for 3-5 more pages. I don't know. Virgil G, thank you so much. Music theory is racist as per Adam Neely. I don't know who Adam Neely is, but I assume he's absolutely correct. I'm going to get down to the very last paragraph here, or 2, I should say, because it goes through, I don't know how many other extra levels of, I'm just glancing at the other paragraphs, and I'm not even going to touch. Here's the final irony, though.
Oh God!
The word parlor, as in the parlor of a home, which is not where the word came from. You already told us this, or at least the app's name is itself derived from the French word parlor, P-A-R-L-E-R. Thus, even though Parler's users have rebranded the app's name and linked it to a racially charged American space, they can't escape the foreign influence behind that space's name.
What?
I'm going to read that again. One more time for those in the cheap seats.
Wow.
Thus, even though Parler's users branded the app's name and linked it to a racially charged American space, they can't escape the foreign influence behind that space's name.
That's what they just did. They just did that.
Wow.
And then they said it's likely that the name, based on this fucking mental gymnastics we had to go through, that they could have changed it for that reason, but then ended the story that, yeah, they definitively did it for this exclusive reason, and it's ironic because I need something to write.
Yep. that was quite the piece. Who gave us that one?
Well, that was Frosted Glass. It was from Medium, and the author, for if it matters, someone named Thomas Smith.
To the corner, Frosted.
What else has he written?
That is some horrifically stupid shit. All to in the end be able to go, haha, you're still doing some xenophobic shit, stupids.
Dude, I got a feeling that the editor was like, are you fucking kidding me with this?
Does Medium even have editors?
I don't think so.
Dude,
I don't think so. It's a glorified blogging site, honestly.
I mean, but if there was, I'm pretty sure that fucker was just like, come on. I mean, you can still put this up because nobody's going to care, but like, fucking seriously? You don't even understand what this means, do you?
All right. Well, anyway, yeah, I don't think there's enough red twine left in the world to take over another conspiracy theory after that one. God, Moving on. This one comes from Chicago Mike.
Fuck me.
That was something else, I tell you what. Okay. Beer cave from 1800s found under St. Louis.
Oh, cool.
Was there beer in there? A cave used for storing beer. Sorry, what?
It was space beer.
If only. Thank you, Shiogorath. Monkey has DM Streamlabs, and now Dogcat Fox Scribe has $2 more. Oh. Okay, thank you, Shiogorath. Monkey, check your DMs and Streamlabs.
Thank you. Shio, thank you. Spent the last 2 weeks stressed out about my kitty after he stopped eating, pooping for days. Went from 20 pounds to 12 in a week, though he had beaties. Took him in for 2-week checkup today, and the results were false positive, just constipated. Kitty Taco Bell? Yes. Wait, sure. Your cat lost 8 pounds just from being constipated? Oh, I hope he feels better. I really do.
Well, he's about to lose some more pounds, too, once they get that out of him.
No doubt. You're going to need like 3 litter boxes for that one movement.
Ugh. A cave used for storing beer in the early 1800s has been rediscovered underneath a community garden in St. Louis. The McHose and English Cave Recovery Team, McHose? Hey, Hosehead. Said the beer cave was located in the Benton Park neighborhood in spring 2020, and the team used a pair of holes to get cameras into the underground cavern. Quote, we lowered a LiDAR unit down here to map out the cave, and here is the approximate route of the cave. The cave, it's like 30 feet wide with a ceiling of 7 by 15 feet tall, said Bill Krantz, project facilitator for the McHose and English Cave Recovery. Quote, we were all out here in the alley jumping around like crazy. And then it caved in and we all died. Oh, wait, no, I added that last part. Krantz said the cave dates back to the early 1800s. Quote, it started out for storing ale, Krantz said. He said the cave was also home to a mushroom farm, a wine grotto, sounds like a Playboy Mansion kind of thing, and a community gathering space. The discovery was hailed by St. Louis Alderman Dan Gunther. Quote, this was the brewery center of the city of St. Louis because of all the caves, Gunther said. It really gives us an opportunity to reconnect with that past and hopefully step foot in a garden that hasn't been opened in over 100 years. Yeah, like a mushroom garden. It's probably pretty nasty down there right now.
I'd imagine. Can I just say, McDonald's, if you're listening, you need a U-porn kind of site, what's it called? OnlyFans kind of site called McHose.
I'd order a McHose.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say they need to start a pet food line to help out cats with constipation.
No, that's definitely a Taco Bell thing.
Okay. And let's see, one more here. Sorry, let me get back to the list. Who's next on the list? All right, we already did Frosted Glass. Moving on to, this thing. I'm sure this will be part of people's fucketry, but the Ugandan election and Twitter.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll read it anyway. This one comes from Shiogorath. This is the tweet put out by Twitter's public policy account today. And if you can't smell the irony, you're not sniffing like a Biden. Ahead of the Ugandan election, we're hearing reports that internet service providers are being ordered to block social media and messaging apps. We strongly condemn internet shutdowns. They are hugely harmful, violate basic human rights, and the principles of the open internet.
Does that have their next tweet?
Yes. Earlier this week, in close coordination with our peers, we suspended a number of accounts targeting the election in Uganda. If we can attribute any of this activity to state-backed actors, we will disclose to our archive of information operations.
So even in there, like, we need an open internet. By the way, we did shut some people down in this very situation. You don't even have to go to the U.S. election to see it. They fucking put it in the same tweet thread.
Yeah, and remember how last night, I think it was last night, we're talking about how so many other foreign leaders are kind of like, what you did to Trump is problematic. And then today they do this. Now, admittedly, Uganda is not exactly a bastion of freedom and everything else, but that's beside the point. I mean, see, Twitter's not wrong. Okay, their first statement, I agree with, for the most part.
If only they did.
If only they weren't such fucking hypocrites in their very next tweet. But anyway, this is the world we live in right now, at least for the moment. Hopefully things will change. Let's see. And then Stargazer sent us the letter from Mike Pence where he says, in summary, because it's a lengthy letter, he's not going to invoke the 25th, and he encourages everybody to ignore the whole impeachment stuff and just move on with the transition, which of course they won't. I'm pretty sure that the House is going to impeach him, and then the Senate is not going to convict him. We'll just have a repeat of that, but it'll be on the record, and they can all feel good that they fought the power one last time. So,
well, they've already been put. Now he'll be the first one impeached twice. Like, there's a win for you.
Wow, it broke that glass ceiling.
I don't know who wrote that for Pence, but after watching Pence at the Republican convention and then seeing this, how well this was written and everything, that's a classy dude. I don't know if he's a good dude or anything, but that's a statesman kind of guy.
Yeah,
And
as compared
I
to Trump.
reading that. As compared to all of them up there right now.
Are we? Is Monkey lagging or am I lagging? I can't tell. We keep stepping on each other.
It's probably me. I'm on my normal internet, but it's running a little shitty.
Okay.
So
I'm not getting any lag. So.
Oh, okay. Because I keep finding myself anyway. Okay. Anyway, moving on. This one comes from Signal Boost. When was the last time we heard about Bruce Willis?
Oh yeah, I saw this.
Bruce Willis asked to leave store for refusing to wear a mask. He'd rather live free. Bruce Willis was asked to leave a Los Angeles Rite Aid on Monday after he refused to wear a mask. A spy tells Page 6. A spy?
A
Is that what
spy.
you call them now? That's what CNN should call their familiar with the matter sources from now on. That'd be more interesting.
It wouldn't change anything either. Like people are like, oh, well, that's suspicious. Like, no, you don't know who it is anyway. It might as well fucking be a spy.
Thank you, Devil Fruit Zero. Ugandan Knuckles knows the way to free speech.
He knows the way.
Read
The spy says people inside the store became upset that Willis, 65, wasn't wearing a mask despite having a bandana tied around his neck, which he could have easily pulled up. Yes, it would have made a world of difference, I'm sure. We're told the Die Hard star, who was photographed at the store without a mask on, walked away without making his purchase. Die Hard, he's done stuff since then, like Reprisal. You remember Reprisal?
Nobody remembers Reprisal.
Well, Ralph the Movie Maker remembers Reprisal. Thank you, James Colley. No, Twitter will show them the way. Yes.
What do you way?
Was it the real queen or the true queen? What was it?
It was just the queen.
Just the queen.
The queen.
It's just the queen, brother.
Okay, the queen brother. A rep for Willis didn't return Page 6's request for comment. Then they go over the deaths in California. Willis has spent much of the pandemic quarantining with his ex-wife Demi Moore and their grown children, Scout, Rumor, and Tallulah. Only crazy rich people could get away with naming their kids that nutty, couldn't they? Speculation buzzed last year that Willis's current marriage to wife Emma Hemming was on the rocks, given her choice to stay in Los Angeles with their young kids, Mabel and Evelyn. But Scout later cleared the air on the rumors. I don't care. And Bruce Willis looks terrible, by the way. He's old. He's withering. I know. It's just. It's hard for me to take him seriously in any kind of action role anymore, which he usually isn't because he's having his stunt double do most of the work, which is even shots that have nothing to do with stunts, like just, distant shots from the back or just anything else. It's kind of funny.
We need to take a picture of you sitting at a table eating breakfast. Oh, that's a little too much for me these days. Bruce. The weird part about that, if you look, that bandana, I mean, it almost looks like it was made to be a mask if you have the picture open there.
Yeah.
Hey, all you do is pull the fucker up a little bit.
Please, Bruce Willis.
I know.
Nobody tells Bruce Willis what to do.
Nobody puts Bruce in a corner.
That's
I'm
right.
Bruce Willis, bitch.
That's right. Fuck your couch. Okay. Let's see. I did that one. We already talked about that one. Okay. This one comes from the worst part of the chat, Sean DW175. That's the nickname now. I've decided. I just decided. Right. Sean, you're the worst part of the chat. That's just it. What is the 14th Amendment? Congress mulls legislation to remove those who, quote, engaged in insurrection, unquote. Monkey, what is the 14th Amendment?
The 14th Amendment is your everybody's the same, but it also has the insurrection in there. That the part that they're talking about goes back to anybody who stood against the United States. Basically, this was about people who sided with the South, and holding them accountable for doing so and not being allowed to run for office again.
Okay. Amid the continuing fallout from last week's deadly siege on the U.S. Capitol. Siege?
Siege.
Okay. Democrats are forging ahead with legislation to remove Republican lawmakers for inciting the riot. While there has been a focus on President Trump's possible impeachment and the use of the 25th Amendment to remove him from office, some House Democrats say they will invoke the 14th Amendment to call for the removal of Trump and congressional Republicans who helped incite the insurrection through their push to invalidate the results of the 2020 presidential election. Quote, if we allow insurrection against the United States with impunity, with no accountability, we are inviting it to happen again.
Suck it.
You mean for a third time?
Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York said on ABC's This Week with George Stephanopoulos. Okay, and this is going to get philosophical for a second, and I mean, maybe I'm just being idealistic. I am not fearful of a bunch of idiots storming the Capitol is going to destroy our democracy, our republic, or anything else. Is it just me, or am I not actually? This is not to diminish the people that died or the damage done or the offense caused to our collective sentiments by the action. But that aside, were we really under threat as a nation because of this?
No.
Feel bad, Scribe. They don't fear it either. Trust me. They sat and watched entire cities burn for months and was just like, we don't give a fuck. So this is not bothering them that much. Trust me.
They absolutely let the entirety of the Chaz go for 6 weeks. They argued against stopping the people trying to set the federal building on fire. This is for me where the problem comes in. No, I think what happened there needs to be stopped. I think anybody who actually was encouraging the violence, if you find a lawmaker who was encouraging the violence, by all means, get him the fuck out. But that should go for all of the violence that we've seen, specifically parts like where we had lawmakers cheering people who were out there saying "fuck America." They had no problem with that whatsoever. You can suck. You just suck the whole damn thing.
Maybe it's just that I have more faith in not only the people of this country, but also our system in general, set up as it is, that the riots over the summer, even CHOP, even this at the Capitol, I don't feel like our country is under threat. I don't feel that our democracy is somehow wounded by any of it. People are hurt. Our collective sense of peace is disrupted, certainly. And it's not good, no matter how you slice it, whoever's doing it for whatever reason. But the country has... This is the thing. And if you haven't seen it, I really do recommend it. The Ken Burns documentary on the Civil War. And I only bring up the Civil War thing because if you want to see what an actual test of the notion of America looks like, you look at what happened during the Civil War and the aftermath. Okay, the Civil War was sort of like the greatest necessary evil to see if the United States as a notion could actually exist. We went through that as a nation, and we came out still the United States after the fact. Not unbruised, not without wounds, but still a union. Okay, so a bunch of yahoos jumping into the Capitol or people burning down a Target, while never defensible in any way, shape, or form, I do not see as a threat to this nation in that sense. I just want to make that plain, is where my mind's at on this.
Here's where I'll disagree with you a little bit. And those instances by themselves, you're right.
Okay.
It's when it becomes a collective thing. We do need to use the phrase, remain vigilant. You do need to watch out for this shit. You can't just let it happen.
Oh, yeah,
but
sure. I'm not saying that.
They are acting like the first shots have been fired at Fort Sumter.
Right.
And like, no, it's not the same thing.
Right. I mean, the idea that what my biggest fear is and what I'm seeing happening effectively is kind of like after 9/11, Patriot Act. Yeah.
That's something I'm going to be discussing tonight on Monkey in the Morning because I read an article. If you think the Patriot Act was bad, just wait for part 2 that's going to be coming up.
Well, and that's what I'm talking about, is that something that is not something to ignore, but not something to lose our collective heads over has occurred. Now, granted, 9/11 was beyond the beyond, and everybody was scared, And a lot of people took advantage of that to do a lot of things. What happened at the Capitol is not 9/11, but there's a lot of the same rhetoric I'm hearing that came from the Republicans after 9/11. That's coming from the Democrats now. And that's my major concern, is that all this is going to be used for as a linchpin for further hyperbolic legislation that's going to end up lasting for decades, screwing everybody over. And we're already seeing bits and pieces of it. And they're building this up into such a volcano out of a relative molehill. This one event. I'm not talking about the overall sense of using violence for political purpose, but this one event. And it doesn't seem like anybody has any leverage to say, hold on a sec. And I'm really fearful of what people are going to do in trying to not only maintain their political careers, but to not get bad PR and to go along to get along. That's going to be screwing us all over for a long time to come.
Well, to me, just like I kind of compared before, because you remember back when we were talking about the results of the election, and a lot of the Democrats were saying stuff like, look, if Trump wins again, it's going to be chaos in the streets. There's going to be fire. There's going to be democracy's going to be dismantled. There's going to be a lot of fucked up shit happening. And the statement I made back then is that's not a threat. Like they're not saying that as like, if you do this, Trump is going to make these things happen. That's a promise that they're making to you because they're going to do all those things and make sure that it happens. And this kind of sounds like that to me. It sounds like, if we keep letting this stuff go on, don't worry. We're going to take full advantage of it and make all these things a reality.
Real quick, I have to have at least a happy interlude because apparently 40 minutes ago, your ridiculous lunatic just had a daughter.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Brought into the world, 7 pounds, 4 ounces. Been in the hospital for 10 hours, 40 minutes ago. It's his daughter's birthday. This year ain't bad. I presume there's no name yet, so regardless, unless there's a name already picked, we should sing happy birthday. So ridiculous lunatic. If there's a name we shall sing to, let us know. If not, we'll just call it Little Luna for the sake of brevity.
I kind of like Little Luna.
Little Luna.
Little Luna.
Luna is also moon. Lunatic. I appreciate that. So ridiculous. Let us know if there's a name we should be singing to. If not, it's all right. Anyway, they're talking about the 14th Amendment and all this other stuff. I think I've babbled on long enough about my thoughts and all that. Let's see. Ridiculous lunatic. Let's see. Did you already say what the name was? No. Okay. I don't know. I'll wait another second or three. We're over time. So in waiting for a confirmation of name or otherwise, let's move on to the wonderful world of YouTube time. Guys, thanks so much for all the stories. Sorry to get to them all, but sometimes go off on a tangent. YouTube time for me. I didn't really do much of anything today because of work and stuff. I plan on doing a TEDx tomorrow. I'll be able to do that hopefully after work stuff wraps up and before I run out and have to go to a dentist appointment. It's going to be interesting. I hope it's interesting at least. The stinger I have for the thumbnail is The Great Barrier Grief. I won't tell you what that's in reference to, but I thought it was a clever thing. Beyond that, I'm still waiting a confirmation on Thursday's at least a tenuous scheduled show up on the Kurt Metzger show. Usually those things get recorded and then they're posted privately to his subscribers on Friday, and then it shows up on YouTube on a Saturday. But I just need to firm that up with Kurt, and as soon as I know for sure what's going on with that, I will let you guys know. And beyond that, I think that's all the stuff that I have. Satsu, what do you got?
Well, today I did some editing on videos that are supposed to go up on the gaming channel, and I did my first HelloFresh thing today. And the way that I ordered it, I had it set up to where they give you 4 meals with 4 servings. Mm-hmm. And set it up that way because the way I figured it could work is, that night we could have that dinner and I would make the entire 4 servings the way that they sent it. And then the next day that could be our lunch. And then the night after I could make the new dinner, so that way we consistently have things to eat or whatever. And it'll be good to go. And so far that seems like it'll work out for now. But we'll see. I'll have to commit to cooking every day, or at least every other day if I can plan it out right. I can maybe skip a day or so in the middle, so maybe 2 days cooking in a row, skip a day, and then cook 2 more, just to try to get some stuff out, and then I'll be able to get very consistent videos out for you guys. The first one went really well. All the ingredients were nice, and I wasn't unhappy with anything that showed up. Nothing seemed to be out of place, and the instructions were very clear and easy to follow. So I can see that they're not really exaggerating when, you see those commercials and they're just like, it's so easy, anybody could do it. And I'm just like, well, I mean, but yeah, they laid out everything and they portion everything perfectly for you. You just need to do what they tell you to do. So, so far so good. I'm excited. I'll try to get that other video out as soon as I can.
All right. And Monkey, what have you been up to?
Let's see. Did a Monkey in the Morning last night, and then went over to my game channel where I'm gaming over on Twitch now, y'all. If you want to find me gaming, that's where it's at. And had a really good 7 Days to Die stream over there, just where I was building again, because, well, that's what I do. And I'd been telling Jack right before I went to the stream, like, I like Twitch. The Twitch setup is just so much better than the YouTube one is. It's undescribable. If somebody tried describing it, which Satsu did, until you actually see the difference, you just don't get it. But it's so much easier. It's like one click and I'm on, everything's ready. And that's great. But I've also been building up the YouTube channel for a while now. I didn't even realize how long I've been doing that. And had a decent sized audience go on every stream. And the first 3 streams I did on Twitch, it was just like a max of 11 people watching. I was like, oh, that hurts my ego. Oh, it hurts. But then last night's my audience, it got to 25, which is about what I normally have on live streams over on YouTube. So thank you, everybody who came out. You did it at the exact right time, because my poor ego can't take that. It's like, oh no, they hate me. And I know you don't. I love you guys. But yeah, I had just been talking to Jack about how what's the word I'm looking for here? Shit, I know the word, but where it's just like, oh man, my motivation is gone. Nobody, it's just depressing.
It was demoralizing.
Demoralizing. That's the word. Thank you.
Yeah.
But then yeah, everybody showed up because you guys are awesome and I love you. Lots of people are watching after the fact, but on Twitch, it is so important to have people watching during, far more so than on YouTube. So yeah. Did we ever get a name for Lunatic?
No, he's preferring not to put the newborn's name out on the internet.
All right, that's fine.
Little Luna.
Little Luna.
Who will sing to?
Little Luna, welcome to the world, sweetheart. I hope you like what we did with it. This one's for you. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Little Luna.
Happy birthday, dear little Luna.
Get ready for some terrorizing.
Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday, little Luna. Remember, when they tell you no, it's just a test, and it's okay to fail that test once in a while.
Aw.
Set people up.
Happy birthday. All the best to the little one. All the best to Mama. Mama's been doing a lot of work tonight, I'm sure. And best of luck, guys. Congratulations.
Mama ain't do no work. The vagina did it all. Come on.
Well, all the enemies of female type that Monkey just made in the chat, that's on him, not on me.
I don't want to be nowhere near that one.
Yep. Let's see. So let's move on to the wonderful world of internet. Oh, Monkey, were you done? I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I was done.
Okay. Internet fugitry. Not really fugitry so much, but just sort of side note, this tuneme.com thing has been going around all day. And so I threw the avatars of several Lords of the Night into it to see what would happen. Mine came out okay, I guess. I don't know. I put Weebos in there. I put Chaos Eve. It wouldn't translate monkeys. Let's see. Let me put mine up here real quick, or the couple that I did. Let's get this one up. And I got to go into different windows and things, guys. 1 second. But it's kind of funny to see. Now, the one I didn't save, and I wish I had. I don't know why I didn't. I think I clicked out of the page. Was the one I did for Sinatra. He looked like the saddest little Pixar boy in a little newsboy's cap. That's how they translated it into like a newsboy's cap. Let's see. So here's me having been tunified, apparently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then here's...
That looks like they're looking for you because you broke into somebody's house.
Okay. That's an interesting interpretation. Here's Weebo. Let's see if I can get this up here. There's Weebo.
Yeah.
That looks
like a Pixar Weebo.
Yeah, it looks like a Pixar Weebo. And then the last one I was able to get to work, again, aside from Sinatra, which I wish I'd saved, but I didn't. I could do it again, of course. This is Chaos Eve. I was kind of surprised because the more cartoony ones, avatars, it wouldn't read, but it did Chaos Eve. And it does look bad.
No, it looks like a Pixar Chaos.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Connor Johnson. When I was 8, I subjected myself to the 2005 film Son of the Mask, one of the worst films I'd ever seen. Do any of you remember that disaster? I only remember it from watching people's reviews and dunking on it. I've never seen it. But that from everything I've been told, that's a pretty lousy movie. Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
Ever seen Mask or Son of the Mask? I had no interest in those films.
The first one was okay as a novelty. I highly recommend the actual comic book. Of course, that comic book is definitely for mature audiences, but the comic book was pretty good. The movie translation was kind of, much watered down, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, that comic really emphasized exactly how fucking powerful that mask actually is. Holy shit, dude. It's basically like Deadpool equivalent.
Yeah, it basically alters reality at the whim of the wearer and a bunch of other things. And also, that comic book does not hold back on the violence, the blood, and the gore in any way, shape, or form. Which is part of the charm of it, I guess, and especially the sequel comic book, which I've got collected somewhere. The Mask Returns. Mask Returns is even better or worse depending on how you look at it. The art is great too. The art is really good.
Me too. If ever I get asked for a power that I want to have, it'd probably be the power of cartoonism, because one thing they were explaining about that, and one dude was like, do you realize that the mask, like this character itself, he literally only takes damage when he wants to? Like, it doesn't matter what happens to him. He cannot sustain physical damage unless he wants to in that situation. I'm like, holy fuck. That is insane.
Marvel, briefly, I don't even know if the character still exists, but briefly back in the 90s, they tried to make their own sort of kind of mask character called Slapstick. It was basically some teenager who was endowed with the powers of cartoon and could like pull hammers out of his pockets and a bunch of other things. I don't know whatever happened to that character. I don't know if he actually still exists in the canon anymore, but for a time there was a character called Slapstick. And I thank you, animated. Thank you, Frosted Glass. Your message says animated Scribe equals Bob Ross if he was a sex offender.
Wow.
Oof.
Okay. Jeez Louise. Travis Gardner, Scribe, someone did Drunkle. I tweeted to. Yeah, I saw that. I think I forgot to do that one too. Yeah, those are pretty mutated looking. That's speaking of questionable faces. It recognized Joe Camel, but it wouldn't recognize. I tried Ranting Monkey. It said it couldn't translate it into a face. I tried Satsu, and I came up to, I don't know why I didn't save that one either. Anyway, Satsu's worked a little bit. It didn't give him a beard though. It made him look like teenage Satsu in a hood. So anyway, sorry, what?
I said Squishy would have been offended. She don't even want to see what beardless Satsu looks like.
But on to the rest of my fuggatry. So there was a story from, what was this? What publication? I don't know. Anyway, the headline just says, "A black woman is named U.S. Capitol Police acting chief following riot."
Just a black woman.
Yeah, no name, nothing indicating what their experience is or if they're coming from a different city or so. Just a black woman.
Look at that black woman over there. She can do it.
Yeah. Then there was this. I'm sure there's a bigger story on this somewhere, but so New York City Democrat Luis Sepulveda, who I'm sure I've heard the name of before, a close ally of the New York City mayor, who is still featured on Bernie Sanders' campaign website, turned himself in today for strangling his wife.
Nice.
Now, I don't know if his wife died. You can strangle someone and not kill them, but I don't know exactly what the details are. But that just popped up. Strangling his wife during a domestic dispute. I'm assuming she's still alive. Yeah, so domestic violence. Okay, it's still under investigation, but yeah. So there you go. Beyond that, did I have anything else? Oh, there's apparently a new Indiana Jones game being developed by Bethesda, coming out whenever it's half done, knowing Bethesda. I didn't know that they had the license. That's interesting. I didn't know Bethesda had the license to a Lucasfilm property. Makes me wonder what else might be in Bethesda's pocket in the coming years. But of course, who bought Bethesda? Microsoft. So that might be the reason why. Probably a reason why. Thank you, James Colley. How much to see what beardless Satsu would look like? How much to see? I mean, I can put his avatar back into it and show you.
No, I think he's talking about. I think he's talking about actual beardless Satsu.
Oh, for you, how much to shave off your beard? Well, I don't know. How much would you? What would be the bounty on your beard?
You better talk to Squish.
Yeah, you'd probably have to ask Squishy because. Yeah. And also, you'd have to put a little extra on the top for the amount of vagina I wouldn't be getting until it grows back. So, I don't know, man. Yeah, that's you're gonna have to talk to the wife.
Whatever Squishy says, plus 10% beard fee.
That's right.
The Washington Post had this today. Gab, the social network that has welcomed QAnon and extremist figures, explained. And I said, Twitter, the social network that has welcomed the Ayatollah of Iran and extremist figures, requires no explanation.
It just is.
It just is. And I think that's everything I got. We got a birthday for Shigon. Do I know this? Is that happy birthday, Shigon? Shigon? Where's that?
I would read that Shigon.
Shigon? Okay, I don't want to. Let me know.
Shigon, like Chicago, but
yeah, like Chi-Town.
Like Chi-Town. Shigon. How do we say it?
Yeah, don't screw it up. And I think that's all the fuggatry I've got. So while we wait for that, Satsu, what do you got on fuggatry?
Well, first of all, Jordan in the chat said, "Give Squishy the razor and we pay per shave." Like the nipple stream, but with a razor.
Damn, that sounds scary.
Well, I actually have I got that what is it, the lawnmower 3.0 or whatever, the shave thing that.
Ooh. Do you think Squeetus will recognize you without the beard?
Oh, she would probably
freak out.
Yeah,
she'd probably be freak out. Yeah,
you'd have to do it where she can watch.
Yeah, she'd have to see the process being done. Oh God, that sounds like one heck of a stream right there. Well, I'm gonna talk to the wife. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Watch as her mom destroys her father right in front of her. What are you doing? That's not my dad.
Dumbbeard says, like Chigon. Haha, it's my wifer? Wiffer?
It's wife.
I'm wife. I thought wifer was like an app like Fiverr or something for a second. Like it's like you get a cheap wife for a day or something. I don't know.
Qigong like a chia pet.
Yeah.
Chia. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry,
Oh, were we going to sing to Qigong?
That's what I thought.
yeah. Okay. Let's do that first. I was either going to let Satsu finish his fucketry or whatever. We'll sing. We'll sing now.
Okay.
All right. Qigong, it's your birthday. This one's for you. And if we're saying it wrong, blame your man. He did it.
That's right.
And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday
To you.
Happy birthday, Qigong.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. I hope you had a good one. Really do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Satsu, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I had a rather lengthy conversation with somebody on Facebook today because of a post that they put up, because quite frankly, I'm getting kind of sick of seeing these posts, and they're starting to annoy me. So I decided to dive in and address this. Okay. So the post that was put up says, y'all mad a woman is shot dead while storming the Capitol building, but don't care when a woman is shot dead while sleeping in her house. Now, my point,
we don't care.
My point was the issue with this narrative, even if you feel like you're doing the right thing by talking about it, you're comparing something that happened, a storming of the Capitol, with something that literally didn't. Somebody shot while sleeping in their house. Mm-hmm. Now, if you were comparing Breonna Taylor being shot unjustly in that situation, and you talked about that situation as what it was, where, you know, they knocked on the door, they shot her unjustly or whatever, and they killed her in her home while she wasn't doing anything illegal, then fine. That would have been a decent enough comparison, because you would have been talking directly to the people who didn't care then, but they care now. You're pointing out hypocrisy, whatever, fine. But that's not what happened here. You compared something that happened and then made up some bullshit that literally didn't happen. So now you're not talking to anybody, because there is nobody out here who didn't care when a woman was shot dead sleeping in her house, because that didn't happen. It's literally not real. Not only did the testimony from the boyfriend who was who shot the bullet or whatever, who was in the hallway, state the fact that they were up and awake watching a movie at the time, but during the whole encounter with the police officers, neither one of them were in the bedroom. They were both in the hallway, yelling back and forth at the door. That's all been confirmed. It's in the articles that were being shared. So I'm like, you're just making up bullshit at this point. And you're trying to make a point, but you're diminishing the point. Whatever point it is you're trying to make is completely negated by the fact that you completely lied about something that absolutely did not happen. So somebody comes along later and says that I totally missed the point of the post. I'm comparing apples to oranges. And the person who shared this in the first place was like, shake my head. This is a problem. Y'all did care about that, but don't care about this. His reasoning why it's okay to say stuff like this, why it's okay to say that she was sleeping in her house, is because it doesn't matter if she was sleeping or not. That was his reasoning. I shit you not. That was his reason. It doesn't matter if she was sleeping. It doesn't matter what she was doing. She was wrongfully killed. I'm like, it absolutely matters, because you're making a direct comparison.
Yep.
You're talking about the act of what happened by literally stating something that didn't. This is the one scenario where it absolutely does matter. And he was like, no, you're just, when it comes to conversations about the broader picture, getting distracted by bullshit like this is what, gives people excuses. I'm like, no, literally flat out lying is what gives the opposition excuses to dismiss what the fuck you're talking about. Because in this instance, based on this comparison, what he said is very important. Now, the one question I asked him is, if the while sleeping thing is not important, then please explain to me why it is said in every article that has been written about this story since it came out. It's not the important detail, right? It doesn't even matter what she was doing while it happened. It was just wrong. Then why does it have to be mentioned every single time? Because I'm just like, if it doesn't matter, then it should be super easy for you to never say those words again, right? It doesn't matter. But it does. And you're using them strategically for a specific reason, because you want people to believe that she was laying in her bed, the police kicked down the door, walked in while she was asleep, and unloaded a clip into her body as she was slumbering. Because that's the narrative you're pushing. Or else why would you even make that comparison? So we talked for a while. We talked for quite a bit. And it seemed like he kind of got the point that I was trying to get across. But he really didn't want to say he did, because, that would have made him look like a hypocrite. But yeah, it was just one of those situations that just it just really pissed me off, because I'm just like, why? Why does this lie need to be maintained in order for you to feel like you're representing her in any type of reasonable way? Like, why do you need it? And then the answer is, oh, well, it doesn't even matter what happened. Like, you're focusing on the little shit. I'm like, you're lying about the big shit, though.
I had kind of that same argument over that Bernie post yesterday, where Bernie's like, if he's too dangerous to be on Twitter and Facebook, he's too dangerous to be president. And like, that's stupid. And people, oh, how dare you? They're not saying just because he's on Twitter or gets kicked off Twitter that he shouldn't be president. I'm like, I'm not the one who said that.
He literally said those words.
That's his argument. You're telling me that it doesn't matter, but he's the one that made it matter, not me.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I asked him, what exactly? Please explain to me what the benefit is of flat out and blatantly lying and opening yourself up for somebody to rebut something that you claim doesn't even matter. Like, tell me what the benefit is, because that's all I want to. What is the benefit? It doesn't matter what happened in that situation, but we absolutely have to make sure that we lie every time we talk about it. What are you gaining from that exactly? I don't get it. And he couldn't explain that to me, of course, because
there's no good explanation.
There isn't. There's no explanation for that. It's just complete stupidity. There's no reason for it at all. That was like the major thing that I bumped into today. There was plenty of shit that I could talk about, but that was the one thing, because I spent a lot of time talking to this dude. So yeah, that was the thing that happened. That's my fucking tree, by the way, Scribbles.
Okay. Monkey, what do you got?
Just a few real quick ones. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeted out today, "Good morning. Lies are not differences of opinion. Have a great day." And I asked her if we're being morally or factually correct.
Was she standing in front of a fence at the time, by any chance?
Fuck this woman. That's the Twitter thing. Nancy Pelosi has announced the impeachment managers, and on that list is Eric Swalwell.
Oh.
The guy who had a Chinese spy working for him, and who we know the Chinese helped push along his candidacy and gave him money because they thought he would be a good person for them to have in power. I'm like, you think he's really what you want to be putting out there right now? But then I forgot that story went away, so it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going to get him for sedition. By the way, we're going to have this guy the Chinese wanted to be a leader, helping us get rid of him.
Yeah, what was the dangers to our democracy again?
Right. And then this will be my final one. I fucking loved it. they've put in metal detectors at the Capitol, and they were having an issue with what's her name, Boebert, Lauren
Yes.
Boebert from Colorado, because she was refusing to show them what was in her purse when it set off the alarm. She carries a gun, and she's been very, very vocal about the fact she's going to continue to carry a gun when she's in the Capitol. And Domenico Montanaro, who is a NPR senior political editor and correspondent. He tweeted this: Jim Jordan's upset members now have to go through metal detectors to get on the House floor. That's what happens when a member of your own party promises, that's in caps, promises to bring a gun to the Capitol. I will carry my firearm in D.C. and in Congress, Colorado Representative Lauren Boebert said in an ad. Yeah, that's why they have the metal detectors now, because of her. Had nothing to do with that fucking violent outburst we saw the other day. No. The members have to go through now specifically because of her carrying a gun. Shut the fuck up, you retard. I really wish I could say retard over on Twitter because it is so apt so often. But that's all I got.
All right. Well, with that, we're at the bottom of the hour, which means, Chad, it's your time. If you have questions, comments, complaints, concerns, conspiracy theories, I'm trying to think of the last thing. I don't have anything for the last thing, so fill in the blank with yourself. Put them in the chat now. If you have questions for us directly, please put plenty of chat marks after those. If you have statements for us to consider, please put plenty of statement marks after those so that we know it's for us and that you're not talking amongst yourselves, which we do appreciate and encourage. But, distinguishing what's directed at us versus you sometimes is tough. Mighty Balzac, oh lords, would you eat a 17-ounce Texas T-bone with mashed potatoes, gravy, and coleslaw served with a beverage of your choice and a vessel of your choice?
Sure.
That's the most welcome menu proposal we've had in a while. Sure. That's
weird. Why 17 ounces?
I don't know.
Usually you see it done at 16, 8, 12.
Maybe somebody cut wrong.
Maybe.
Would you eat that, Satsu?
Sure, why not?
I probably wouldn't have I'm not a big coleslaw fan, but everything else is fine.
It depends on the coleslaw. There's some places that it's wonderful, and other places like, dear God, why? Why do you hate me?
Red Dirt Runner. This week in Lords of the Night, we are joined by the Broken Simeon, the man who dominated the moon, and a black man with good credit. What awaits them this time?
That's a weird way to describe us. It's absolutely correct.
Yeah, I mean, should open the show with that one. Let's see. Pirates Creed. Hi guys, I'm back. Did you miss me? Only because our aim was off. I'm never not going to say that joke whenever that comes up.
I know. I've resigned myself to that.
It's kind of ingrained in me thanks to my father and my family sense of humor and just me. Also, you spelled high, H-I-G-H, so are you having a little bit of the wacky tobacco? Dangerous Spaces. So the woman pushing to impeach Trump for sedition is the one who tried to usurp Trump's chain of command.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, the whole nuclear codes thing I heard about. I was like, what are you doing, Nancy?
Nancy Pelosi reached out to the Pentagon to try to make sure that Trump couldn't use the nuclear codes in his last couple of weeks of office, which is absolutely a breach of her powers. And it could be seen as treason.
Let's see. Check your logic. Have you seen the movie Freedom Writers? No. I know of it. It's got Hilary Swank in it. And it was listed on that TEDx I just did as an example of the white savior complex.
I don't think I've seen it.
I know of it. I never saw it. Satsu, you ever see it?
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Are you playing Final Fantasy 14?
No, I was clearing my throat because like the fucking back of my throat is like super scratchy right now.
You got the COVID?
No, I'm good. What they have?
Have you seen the movie Freedom Writers? Writers with a W.
Freedom Writers? No, I don't think so.
Mata Winter. Oh lords, would you all try a nacho cheeseburger with a side of chips and refried beans and a pearlescent green glass of lime Coke? I can do without the lime Coke. The rest sounds fine.
The hell is lime Coke? Is that a thing?
Yeah, it
Or do
is.
you have to make it yourself?
I've seen it before. I don't know if it's a constant thing they produce, but I've seen it before.
Huh. I mean, I'd try it, but
yeah. Okay, my lights just flickered. I don't know why, but if I suddenly disappear, that might be why. Let's see. Arg says, "Do you think that that over in the Berenstain Bears universe everything is mostly fine?" No, it's just a different kind of screwed up. That's all. Backscan 3030. What's your favorite death battle?
I'm sorry, my favorite what now?
I don't know if that's a brand name for something. Death battle, all one word.
The
first.
the show,
Oh,
the YouTube show Death Battles.
Oh, then I don't know what it is.
You've never seen Death Battles before? They do like comic book characters and shit. They did what was it? Wolverine versus.
Oh, those things. Oh,
Okay.
I've only seen a couple, so I don't have a whole lot to go off of. I think the Wolverine versus Wonder Woman one was pretty entertaining.
Been a long time since I've seen him, so I don't know.
It's hard to kind of pick a favorite. I mean, there's a bunch of good ones. I know the big controversy was like Toph from what was it? The Last Airbender versus Gaara from Naruto. People were really, really, really up their asses about that one.
Ebony Williams, Scribe. What is the title in reference to? Okay, so the theme for tonight is the movie The Right Stuff, starring a plethora of stars, and an astronaut named Gus. So this is that's a quote from the movie that's based on, as far as I know, a true story, where they were getting ready to start advertising to the public the astronauts assigned to the Mercury project and the project to go into space, and they asked Gus Grissom. They said Gus isn't a good name for an astronaut, so he says, "What's your middle name?" And he says, "Ivan." And given the political temperature at the time, space race, Cold War, Ivan was not seen as a very good choice to replace as a first name. So he's like, "Well, I guess we can work with Gus." So yeah, that's where that happened. Unfortunately, Gus Grissom was one of the astronauts that died in a fire on the test launching pad or whatever when they were
The launch pad,
still building the capsule and everything. And my grandfather, who worked for NASA, actually knew some of those guys. I believe Gus Grissom was one of them. And my grandfather worked for NASA, and he worked on the Apollo 11 mission. To what extent, we still don't know, because whatever he was doing is apparently still classified. So. But yeah, that's what that's in reference to. Let's see. Pyrus Creed. Should Bernie Sanders be removed for inciting a follower to shoot Steve Scalise? I don't recall what the theory is on what Bernie Sanders either did or did not do in regards to that.
It's not that he actually necessarily did anything. It's that if you're going to blame Trump for his followers, then you have to blame Bernie for his. And the guy absolutely was a Bernie follower. So,
thank you, Pakala Driving 8-Man. You put the lime in the Coke, you nut, and drink it all up.
I see what you did there.
I don't think that's yeah, I know. I got it, but it also comes across as a little gross.
I'm pretty sure that song was literally playing back on those lime Coke commercials or whatever.
Could be. And then chat jumped. Mr. No, Scribe Light, do you have a sweater vest? I do not. That was easy. Brenda, DVC, Scribe, you sound like you want to play Final Fantasy 14, and you should, and make a bunny girl with red hair. New, not interested in that. Thank you, Poker Pierce. Happy Tuesday, gentlemen. Thank you, Poker Pierce. Happy Tuesday to you. And again, hope the new job is going well. Truth be told, I have a confession to make. I am currently playing an MMO.
Yeah.
I'm not playing a new MMO. I'm playing an old MMO that is surprisingly still out there, but is free to play. Age of Conan.
Oh, is that? I didn't realize that was still up.
It is free to play on Steam. I mean, you can get a premium membership if you want, but you're basically locked to one character slot. And it's I'm having a lot of sort of nostalgia playing it because I never played it before this, but it reminds me so much of my first brief adventures into MMOs way back in the day, like my first try at Warcraft. World of Warcraft and Champions Online, things like that. And it's kind of refreshing just how sort of simple it is. Yeah, so currently I'm playing an Age of Conan.
I was watching T-Tac play WoW last night, and I'm like, oh, I want to play. I don't want to play. I want to. Oh, fuck, why am I watching this?
Yeah, I'm having a lot of sort of like, this is the addictive quality of it, even though it's an old MMO, it's been about as refined to what it's going to be as it can. And it just got an update this past December. They're still updating this thing. They're still maintaining it, which is amazing. But yeah, putting out a call for anybody to come play with me. I don't know if you'd want to download a game that antiquated and try to get on with it, but I'm having fun so far. Thank you. Understatement. Anyone remember Guns the Duel?
No.
No. I don't know what that is. And by the way, guys, chat jumped quite a bit, so if I missed your question, just repost it. L. Wolf, Scribe, have you tried filing a Freedom of Information Act to find out? Oh, about the what's been classified? No. And it's been so long that I've thought about that. I think it's possible that at some point my grandfather, he's long passed away, but I think at some point he may have either written it down or summarized it somewhere, and I just don't have access to that. I'd have to ask my mom to see if she has it somewhere in her records. My mom is a very meticulous record keeper when it comes to family stuff and family trees and writings and records and things. So I should probably talk to her about that. Actually, in college, we were given an assignment to write a lie that could be true. And so I wrote this like 3-page story because it was a creative writing, of course. And I wrote a story about how I discovered what my grandfather worked on at NASA. And what he actually worked on was the method by which they tinted or coated the glass of the helmets of the astronauts to go to the moon in order to protect them from the sun's rays and the radiation, all that stuff. And that this science, this development, eventually trickled down into the consumer market and is now used in various forms for sunglasses today. And I wrote that, and I got a decent grade on it. And then I forgot about it. You know, it got put away with a bunch of other papers. And then about a couple of years later, I came home from college, and I had a bunch of stuff laid out as I was unpacking. And my sister finds this, and she reads it, goes, "Oh, I didn't know that's what Grandpa did." Because there was nothing on the paper to say that this was a lie that could be true. It was just the title. That was just the assignment. And I let her believe that for about a day before I told her the truth. And she was like, "It sounded so accurate. It sounds so real." I was like, "Well, that's why I got an A on it." Ha ha ha.
What's the point?
That's the point. Mr. Ab says, "Dude, I play Age of Conan. I'm gonna start having raids here soon, monkey." Let's see, fighting big monsters and dragons and things. Let's see. Okay. Poker Pier Scribe, will you give me the honor of the little wrench next to my name that monkey refused to do? LOL. I'm of the same. Okay, wrenches in my mind are not status symbols. And it's no offense to anyone. I don't just hand them out willy-nilly. If I've got people in the chat, 2 or 3 people that have wrenches, they've got them. I don't base it on popularity contests or anything else necessarily. I haven't given out one for quite a while. So I hope you're not offended when I say no, because I don't want to start putting some kind of bounty on giving out wrenches and that kind of thing. The criteria is not solid. It's relatively loose in my head for when I'll give a wrench, but I hope you don't take offense to it. Nothing personal.
If you become a sponsor on my channel, you'll get a cool little green thing next to your name and a custom little emote next to it too. So
yeah, I still haven't done this. I still haven't done the sponsors thing. I don't know. I have to think about that. Del Fruit Zero, can I get a real wrench? I'm sure there's a hardware store near you. Dangerous Spaces, the narrative was some electoral college would be rejected, overturning the election, so these people stormed the Capitol to interrupt a process they thought was already happening. Well, whatever they thought, nothing they were going to do was going to stop what had already been decided. What was taking place in the Capitol was effectively a formality. I know it's part of the process and it's part of the official procedure, but all the same,
it's a formality.
It is a formality. It's a foregone conclusion. They were going to accomplish nothing, no matter what they had done, and the mechanisms of our government would have rolled on without them, because that's not how you affect change as they were attempting to in any way, shape, or form. And so that's why I can't think of another word. I scoff at anyone who keeps suggesting that event was somehow some great danger to our democracy, our way of life, and so on and so forth. You can't, on one hand, say this does not represent this country, and then go on to say this represents the gravest danger to our democracy since 9/11. It doesn't work that way. And the people trying to leverage this into fear mongering and more division and more hatred and more suspicion, they're the greatest danger to our general sense of well-being, not necessarily our nation, but it all depends on what they decide to do with this new leverage they've decided to create. Thank you, Piccolo. Compromise, just do the channel member for $1.99 a month. Is that the lowest you can go?
I'm not sure. I didn't know they had tiers. I thought it was just set, so I don't know how that works anymore.
If I did it, I wouldn't have tiers or anything. I don't know. I haven't dabbled in the Patreon sponsor stuff and all that. I'm a little skeptical. We'll see. I'll think about it, guys. If I could come up with something that would be, I wouldn't want it to be for nothing. I'd have to come up with something that would give members something special, and I'm not quite sure what that would be yet. I don't know if it's like, can you set like members only streams and things like that?
Yeah.
Can you do that with the YouTube one?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm wondering, can you do that through StreamYard and set that up that way, or do you have to like set it up on StreamYard and then go back into YouTube and set it to members only?
I'd have to
look that up.
You'd have to preset your stream up for members only on YouTube, and then use your what's that key? What's it called again? The stream key.
Oh.
Yeah,
can you give StreamYard a stream key to link up to a pre-established YouTube thing?
I'm not. You guys
don't
use it.
think so.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, okay. Well, if not, okay, this is all hypothetical. If I was going to do members, I'd try to do something like that. But if I couldn't do it that way, I'm not quite sure how I do it. Anyway, well, something to think about. Not right now. Let's see. Red Dirt Runner, Lords, what would you rather have? A custom handman chef's knife, claymore, Viking axe, or katana? I'd probably take the claymore, so long as it was actually of a original sort of Scottish design of some kind, since that's sort of my heritage, I guess.
I already have a katana, so I guess I'll take the chef's knife because
there you go.
I could use it.
I would take the chef's knife just because it's the only thing I'd use.
I'd just hang the claymore up on a wall or something, or display.
Sure.
Let's see. Sorry, guys, I'm all over the place here. Mr. No, what's your favorite flavor and/or brand of wine? I don't really drink wine that often, so can't say I have a. As far as like flavor, God, what's the I'm sorry, I forget. It's this sort of sweet white wine. I forget all. Zinfandel, is that it?
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know wine. Like there's white wine and then there's red wine, and I don't really distinguish between them. The one time that I was at a dinner or something, and they gave me a wine list, that I wasn't paying for the dinner, and I just picked out an Italian red, and I don't even know what the brand was or anything else. So I don't know.
My wife used to work with somebody who made their own wine. It's the only time I've ever liked wine. They made this peach wine that was fucking nummy.
Satsu?
I don't know. I mean, Squishy likes Moscato, and when I drink it, I don't hate it.
Understatement. Scribe. The only reason I didn't fall for commie nonsense because I paid attention in school. Animal Farm, 1984, and Harrison Bergeron are manuals for what's going on now. People don't read. Yeah. I mean, Harrison Bergeron especially keeps coming to mind as the TEDx's I see and things, and everybody talking about equity. And I'm just like, you guys don't really know what you're asking for, do you? Or maybe you do and you don't care. I'm not quite sure which. Devil Fruit Zero, will you go visit your lordship claim? I hope to at some point. You know, I in my wishes of wishes, I hope at some point after all the pandemic stuff's over with and I find some ability with work to take some actual time off. I hope to travel to the British Isles at some point and visit with Tailed and see Alex and go find my plot of land or whatever and go see my or the castle most closely associated with my my family line and all that stuff. I hope to at some point. When that'll be, can't say. I'm guessing not for at least for another couple of years or something at worst or missed. Let's see. Data Waste says Zinfandel is pink. Okay, then it's not Zinfandel. I don't. What was it called? It's a standard type of white wine, but I'm just like blanking on it right now. I'm sure somebody else will come up with it. Motto Winter. Oh lords, drink potion 1 and gain good luck, but 65% of the time crazy things will happen for your luck to pay off, like Rube Goldberg type events. Or potion 2, make you shit fruits based on your mood. I take the first potion. Sorry, go ahead.
What kind of fruit comes out when you're angry? I don't want to accidentally shit a watermelon.
Yeah, I was about to say, shit, whatever emotion shits out a watermelon, I want to make sure I avoid that at all costs.
I take the first one because then I'd be like, what was his name? It was like Chance Harper or something in the TV show Strange Luck. D.B. Sweeney in a quasi. What was it? I think Chris Carter produced that, and it was in the same era as the X-Files. Strange Luck was a weird show. My sister was a big fan because she was a big fan of D.B. Sweeney, especially after the skating movie. I'm suddenly forgetting.
Oh, Toe Pick.
Toe Pick. Cutting Edge.
Cutting Edge. Yes, there you go.
Thank you, Pikal Driving 8 Man. Pot of land? No, plot of land. Riesling, that's what it was. Data Wasteland, thank you. Riesling, yeah, that type of wine. I remember having at a friend's party, and I was okay with it. Not too much though, because it really dehydrates you real quick. But I was fine with that. Willett Fort says Strange Luck was amazing. It was something. There was a lot of interesting concept shows that came out at that time. There was Strange Luck and VR5 and what was it, The Burning Zone, and all these other crazy shows that some didn't work and some did. And there's like what was that show with Jessica Alba? Was that Dark Angel or something? Whatever. Yeah, the X-Files success really opened the door for a whole bunch of crazy shit to be tried out, and some worked and some didn't. Most only lasted for like a season or two. Remember Brimstone? Anybody remember Brimstone? the detective that had the devil following him around. That was always fun. James Colley, thank you so much. What was that? How Drunkle was born? How? Oh, yeah, pineapple. Let's see, just a few minutes left. Let me make sure I don't miss anything. Will it forward? Scribe Light, how about early edition? Early edition was okay. I only watched it a couple of times. I don't know. It just seemed kind of too cuddly a show for some reason. I don't know. I liked Fox with they had that edge, they had edgy shows, you know, with lots of shadows and darkness, like Millennium. Remember Millennium? Yeah. Virgil D. DIY wine is just a packet of yeast and a liter of Welch's grape juice. Away. Yuck. Yeah. I don't know. All you need, Scribe Light. To be fair, your plot of land would not fill much more than a pot, so not an inaccurate statement, I suppose. But it's still, yeah, it's a square foot of land in Scotland. So, and if it technically makes me a lord, or even just fancifully makes me a lord, I'm fine with that. Let me scroll to make sure I didn't miss anything. Before I probably did. Mr. No, Lords of the Night, have you tried Dom Perignon 1985? I think I've had champagne once that I know of, and it was Corbel. Because, you know, if the champagne's not Corbel, what are you going to do, right?
I've only had champagne once. I couldn't tell you what kind it was. It wasn't, I'm sure, because I'm a poor boy, but I didn't much care for it.
Satsu?
Yeah, I think I might have had champagne at like a wedding or something.
Oh, I take it back. I had champagne from the bottle once for like a New Year's thing, but I forget when, but I did one time have mimosas at somebody's party, and that's orange juice and champagne, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So I have had champagne more than once, but yeah, the other time it was mixed. Thank you, Saxon Ross. Use this towards actual wine. Okay, well, I'm certainly not going to do the yeast and grapefruit process, but okay, I will see about investing in a bottle of Riesling then soon, and maybe I'll put that for some fancy TEDx event or something. Let's see. Ebony Williams, Scribe, you should get your sister a more functional chia pet. Apparently, she got it working. She got the Richard Simmons thing working now. His hair is growing healthfully, I hear. So whatever she figured out to do with it, or she followed the instructions, it worked out. So the Richard Simmons chia pet is on the grow, as it were. Let's see. Brenda DVZ, Satsu, I'm playing Final Fantasy 14 right now too, and same server as Cephtus Wolf, and going to be on Jezebella leveling.
Okay, well, I just hopped over to FAM, and I just got into a party with Cephtus, so hit us up.
Pyrus Creed, as a Lord Scribe, have you performed Prima Nocta? No.
What's that?
Prima Nocta is where you, the lord or the person in charge of the piece of land claims rights over a newly wedded bride before the groom.
Oh.
Yeah. And that was a joke that was made in the Avengers Age of Ultron, where Tony Stark, as he's attempting to lift Thor's hammer, he says, if I lift this, I'm going to reinstitute Prima Nocta. And that offended so many people. Thank you again, Poker Pierce. Got a hot tub and my beautiful wife waiting for me. Catch you tomorrow. Have a great night, gents. P.S. Bring your own liquor to fancy restaurants. Order water in a wine glass. Leave a big tip. Works every time. Thank you, Poker, and have fun.
Have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night. Hot tub and a beautiful wife. Lucky guy. Modern Winter says, Scribe, like the fruit is based on what you want it to be subconsciously for each mood. Okay, so what do you associate anger with, Monkey?
Well, my mind immediately went to watermelon, so
there you go. You're pooping out some melons.
I get angry from time to time. I'd have to take anger management for sure.
You're gonna get more angry after you have your first watermelon cast out.
Even though it's not huge, it would also be really fucking terrible. Kiwis.
Oh, yeah.
Pyrus Creed says it's actually a myth. Yeah, I know. It's Braveheart says People's Front of Canada. Yeah, it was sort of played out in Braveheart. I'm sure it happened in history. Whether or not it was an actual custom or something, I guess that's questionable. But yeah, so that's what it means essentially. Virgil, honestly, the cheapest DIY wine is just really dry. It doesn't taste bad in any way. I make my own wine and mead all the time. Oh, I've known people that make their own mead to go to like SCA events and things like that. I never had it, but so I know you can make it. I probably wouldn't. I guess it depends. If it was somebody that I knew, I'd give it a taste or something. But self-made wine stuff, or somebody that did it using one of those kits you get for Christmas or something, maybe.
Well, the people I'm talking about, they didn't just use like a kit. They had an actual orchard and everything. They sold wine.
Oh, okay. All right. Cannibalistic Wizard, try lemon pepper chicken served with a garlic cheese potatoes, a peppered gravy, and lemon vodka jello shots. Not sure about that last one. The rest sounds okay.
That is literally something I cooked without the vodka jello shots or whatever.
Yeah, I was about to say. I remember you talking about lemon pepper chicken at one point.
Oh, I fucked with lemon pepper chicken.
Okay.
That's my shit.
And lastly, color commentary. Does anyone know how to pull oneself out of gaming disenchantment? I've had it for so many years. I don't think I'll ever find a spark again. The only thing I could suggest is revisit a game you remember loving, if you haven't done it in a while, and just play through it and see what happens.
I would give the opposite advice.
Really?
Yeah, because you can go back and ruin a game you loved. Be like, oh, this was not as good as I thought it was. Yeah. The only thing I could recommend is trying different games. I've been there, but for me, it usually lasts a month or so. And then if you're going to jump into a game you used to play, make it something you played 6 months ago, not like 2 years ago. Because nostalgia. Say no.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Actually, I fell out of gaming for a while too, and what really got me back in is trying to play games that I initially thought that I wouldn't enjoy, because I'm just like, that's not really my thing. And then around that time, I just kind of forced myself to try new stuff, and I ended up finding a game franchise that I fucking completely fell in love with, and it's one of my favorite like ever now. So you never know.
Thinking to call the Driving Ape Man, the chicken Braveheart was like 4 years old in real life. That's not a nice image, but then Braveheart took many, many, many liberties with historical facts. If you want to know exactly how many, I suggest you go look up. There's a channel, History Buffs, and the guy goes over historically based movies and tells you the actual history and then compares it to what was presented in the film. A lot of those are really interesting to watch. History Buffs is a good channel on YouTube. But
he absolutely hates The Patriot. Such a great episode.
Oh yeah. Man, he hates The Patriot. He hates Braveheart. I think one of his favorite films is probably Waterloo, because of all the work. Tora, yeah. Anyway, guys, really go check out History Buffs and just check out his playlist on history films and things like that. They're great. But with that, it is the top of the hour, and guys, we have to go. So with that, remember, tomorrow night we'll be on Monkey's channel per usual at the regular time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for Lords of the Night. Tomorrow at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, I'll be doing a TED Excellence. That is what I plan to do. If that changes, I'll let you know on Twitter. So follow me on Twitter. Follow all of us on Twitter. Links in the description. Guys, are you doing anything after this?
I will probably be gaming.
Yeah, I'm playing Final Fantasy with some of the viewers. So if you have it, come and hang out with us. That's what I'll be doing.
All right. And as far as me and Age of Conan, I don't know if there's anybody interested in trying to meet up with me to play that, but I can't give you a firm schedule because of work and stuff, but who knows? Let me know in Twitter and we'll see. But with that, everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You guys really are the best audience in the world. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though all of you are so well behaved that there's very little for them to do. Everyone who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. And congratulations again to Your Ridiculous Lunatic and the lovely Mrs. Lunatic on little Luna's birth. Hope everyone is safe and well on that. Monkey, Satsu, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
A pleasure.
What?
You got nothing to say? Yeah, okay. Everyone, your lives make us sad, and we will see you tomorrow.
Fuck off.
Bye, everyone.
And per usual, I'll take out my copy of Screw the Roses, Send Me the Thorns, the romance and sexual sorcery of sadomasochism.
Masochism.
All right. And today's secret word is tight.
Ooh.
Well, at least it wasn't the next word in the sentence, or else this might be an R-rated show. But
I like R-rated shows.
I figured you do. You watch a lot of